what's up? Today, I'm gonna show you guys a recipe for a supremely delicious shrimp pasta that I call Super Scampi. It's super because it's better than any scampi that I've had in my life up until this point. It's creamier, it's silkier, it's butterier, and it's packed with sweet, tender, perfectly cooked shrimps. To get started, I'll need 375 grams of 1620 easy peel shrimp. Easy peel just means that the back of the shrimp is slit open, making the removal of the poop thing and the shell super easy. P&D shrimp can also work for this recipe, but they're not my favorite because they're frozen without a shell and this dries them out. To correct for this, shrimp manufacturers pump them full of phosphates to hold onto their liquid, and that gives them a snappy hot dog texture that I hate. Now to prep these shrimps, I'll peel off the shell, then cut down into 1/2 to 3/4 inch pieces. You might notice that I'm cutting these a little bit weird. That's because I'm using a knife cut called an oblique, and I use it to cut awkward shaped things like shrimp into even organic pieces. To do it, you basically cut in alternating diagonals. I'll just make a cut, turn 45 degrees, and then slice through the middle of the previous cut. After prepping, 375 grams of easy peels has turned into 275 grams of cut shrimp. Next, I'll add in 3 grams of salt and stir that to combine. Pre-salting shrimp helps the shrimp hold on to a lot more of its own moisture during cooking, and this makes the shrimp much more resilient to heat. Or to say it another way, it makes them harder to overcook. Once these are salted, I'm gonna throw them into the fridge to chill while I make the sauce. For that, I'll grab a heavy bottomed pot and drop it on the stove over medium heat. Once hot, I'll add in a 5-count squirt of olive oil, or about 3 tablespoons. Then I'll add in 100 grams of shallots, 50 grams of garlic, and a small pinch of salt. For this dish, we want the aromatics cut really small so that they melt into the sauce. I gave the shallots my finest dice, which in fancy restaurants is called a brunoise. Basically, that means go as small as you can get them, like lentil-sized or smaller. And for the garlic, since you need so much, I would recommend that you buy pre-peeled. Yes, it does go bad pretty fast, but it lowers the barrier to entry for using fresh garlic by like 1,000%. Once the aromatics and salt are in, I'm gonna stir to combine and sweat in the olive oil over medium heat for about 5 to 6 minutes. During this phase, we don't want any caramelization because that's gonna make the sauce taste sweet and dark, and it's gonna step on the light, fresh sea flavor that we're trying to preserve from the shrimp. And once the aromatics are softened and translucent, I'll add in 10 grams of Calabrian chiles. Then I'll stir those in and sweat for 2 minutes. Also, I opted to chop down these chilies quite a bit with my knife because Calabrians tend to have tough, papery skin that stands out texturally if it's not broken down. And from here, I'm gonna sweat this until the olive oil is smelling fruity, spicy, and is turned an orangey color. Next, I'll add in 250 grams of white wine. For this, I'm using Boda boxed wine because it tastes like wine, it's super cheap, and it stays good in the fridge for at least a month. So if you wanna come back and sneak a little sip here and there, it's on tap. From here, I'll bring the wine up to a simmer and reduce it until au sec, which in French cooking means nearly dry. About 2 minutes later, when I check back, the alcohol flavor has been cooked off, the aromatics are super tender, and the wine is almost gone. Next, I'll add in 500 grams or 2 bottles of clam juice. This stuff is what you would call a hack because it's by far the easiest way to make stuff taste more like seafood. It's briny, it has a distinct shellfish flavor, it's cheap, and it requires no effort on my part. In fact, I love it so much that I'm gonna order a few more bottles to keep on hand through DoorDash, the sponsor of this vid. If you somehow don't know, DoorDash is a food delivery app. And here at B-Man HQ, we use it all the time, especially when we're in the middle of filming and we realize we've run out of an important ingredient. That's not enough. My best recommendation for saving time and money through DoorDash is signing up for Dash Pass. It'll give you $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees on eligible DoorDash orders. A Dash Pass membership also gets you members-only deals like savings on Lyft rides and a free Max subscription. So you can finally finish season 3 of And Just Like That. Dash Pass members on average save about $5 per order. So it pays for itself in about 2 orders. Get more from delivery for less with Dash Pass. Sign up for Dash Pass today and get your first 30 days for free if you're a new member. Subject to change, terms apply. Also, if you sign up for Dash Pass, use my promo code Brian Lagerstrom 50 and you'll also score 50% off your first order over $15, up to $10 off. Okay, now I'm gonna bring the clam jus up to a spirited simmer, then I'll add in 225 grams of angel hair pasta directly into the liquid. Then I'll immediately jump in with tongs to stir and get it submerged. You guys, angel hair is an amazing anything but difficult pasta. Because it's so skinny, it basically always overcooks, then it breaks down when you stir it, and then the whole thing turns into a tangled mess that's stuck together. I eventually figured out that cooking angel hair in boiling water is the issue. Boiling water cooks the noodles too fast, and then when you go to drain them off, it gets you into a starch on starch situation that gets everything stuck together. At that point, you're in trouble. Things are gonna fall apart. On the other hand, cooking the angel hair inside the sauce solves all of these problems. The temperature in here is lower, so the noodles don't overcook. There's a ton of fat in here also, which keeps them lubed up and slippery so they don't stick together. And as an added bonus, they absorb the flavorful liquid that they're cooking in. So they taste a lot better than pasta boiled in water. And after 30 seconds of stirring, this pasta has softened just enough to be limp and bendy. So at this point, I'm gonna start moving the stuff from the bottom up to the top just to make sure that all the pasta is getting a taste of the moist heat at the bottom. And after about 2 minutes of cooking and stirring, the pasta is most of the way there. From here, I'll snatch the salted shrimps out of the fridge, then add those directly into the pot. Then I'm gonna add in just a little bit more clam juice or stock, or water would also be fine. Then I'll stir to get the shrimps mixed in and to get them cooking. I wanna mention that the last 2 minutes of cook time in this dish require a little bit of finesse and attention on your part. Everyone's pasta is gonna cook a little bit differently, and everyone's shrimp is gonna cook a little bit differently. So as you go, you're really gonna need to keep an eye on the moisture level and the cookedness of the shrimp. And if things are getting a little bit dry, don't hesitate to add in a big splash of clam juice again, or stock, and just keep stirring until the shrimps are no longer clear and have made the transition to a mostly orangish pink color. And once the noodles are just reaching al dente and the shrimps are about 60% of the way cooked through, I'm gonna add in 75 grams of cold cubed butter, then 15 grams of finely chopped parsley. And when I say fine, I mean really finely chopped. The tiny chopped stuff just aesthetically hits so much better than large leafy pieces. Trust me. Finally, I'll add in the zest of half of a lemon. Most scampis that I've seen use lemon juice instead of zest, and this makes the dish way too sour in my opinion. Zest, on the other hand, brings all of the aroma and flavor of a lemon, but without the excessive acidity. Now from here, I'm gonna jump in and stir to get the butter not melted, but emulsified with the sauce. There's a big difference here. Emulsified butter leads to a creamy, satiny sauce that sits on the noodles in a really elegant way. If you just melted the butter without any agitation, it doesn't combine with the water in the sauce, and then you're left with a broken result that sits really heavy on the palate and has a disharmony of flavor. You'll know the sauce is coming together correctly when the sauce is opaque and has a soft sheen to it instead of a glossy shine. Man, these angel hairs are pretty thirsty though, so I need one more big splash of clam juice. In total, I started with 500 grams to cook the pasta, and then I've added about another 200 or so to adjust the consistency. Now, just another quick bit of tossing to get things that much more emulsified, and there we go. As you can see, this buttery sauce is perfectly coating each and every noodle, and the pasta isn't overcooked at all. That sounds like it should be a given, but with angel hair, you really need the right process, otherwise it's total trash. Now to serve, I'm gonna twirl this pasta into a low bowl, then I'll top with a bunch more little pieces of plump, buttery shrimp, then I'll hit it with some green chop for a little bit of extra color, and then finally I'll shower the pasta with ground aged Parmesan cheese. Now let's taste this thing. Angel hair fucking hits. Right away, you get flooded with this rich, satiny butter sauce that at first glance looks like it's gonna be way too much and make for a really heavy pasta dish, but it sits light on the pasta because the butter sauce is properly emulsified. The shrimp in here are plump, they're meaty, they're sweet, and they bring little pops of brininess here and there that make the whole dish kind of taste like the ocean. And then there's the angel hair, guys. Oh my God. It's a type of pasta that's really hard to get right, but when you do, it hits. It reminds me of pastaroni from the 90s, and it just switches this nostalgia thing in my brain that just makes me so deeply happy. Thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, I'm gonna show another related pasta video that I made on the screen right here. It's for 5 30-minute pasta sauces. I'll see you there.